Welcome to the Conscious Spirit. I'm Pam.
I'm Nanna. And together
TCS Everyday Psychic. All right, hello everyone. As you can see, my beautiful partner and friend Nanna is here today. I call her Nan, so but her name is actually Nanna. And Mary Lynn will be back next week. We will do another reaction. She's fine. Everything is great. Just, life happens sometimes. So Nanna and I have been wanting to do this for so long. So here we are. We decided to bring you this video on something that we talk about or we get questions about all the time. And well, Nanna, would you like to talk about real quick about what you do? Because this is kind of your area of
my expertise. Well, I also channel like you and Mary Lynn, as you know, but I mainly focus on relationship. It's just something that kind of came through from life experience, and the way I work with spirit is I love to help people strengthen the relationship with themselves, and also to be aware of patterns in relationships that might be a little dysfunctional, a little destructive, and just to heal those patterns and get more awareness so we can have healthier relationships. I love the topic, so I'm super excited to talk about it.
Okay, good. Yes. And I talk about this all the time on the channel, and that is that each one of us is so different in our abilities. And everyone is bent a certain way. And one of the things that I teach, which Nan knows, but is to find what is calling you personally. So we might want to be a medium or a reader or a healer or something. That's great. But each one of us is going to sort of we're bent a certain way, and spirit brings that information to us. And that's what spirit has done with you. It's relationships, and especially that relationship of self.
Yes, that is so important.
It is. And I still and will always seek Nan's wisdom when I'm going through something, when I'm healing something and I need clarity, and she's just brilliant at that. So relationships.
Yes, they are. I love that you say that the relationship with ourselves, I've found, is usually a mirror to our other relationships. So if we have a lot of when I say relationship, most of us think romantic, and well, most of us, we like that romantic relationship thing. Right. So, but I mean all kinds of relationship, friendship, colleagues, whatever it is, even our relationships to our jobs, our careers, our callings, it's still a relationship. It's still like this back and forth that needs to be strengthened, I guess. So I personally, I had a very crappy relationship with myself, and I learned early in my spiritual,
all of us. Even if we don't really realize it.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people, I know some people, I talk to them and I keep pointing out to them that it could be a good idea to be a little kinder to yourself. And some people have the belief that if I'm too kind to myself, then I'm just going to be soft. It's going to be like, oh, I'm not going to do anything.
People take advantage of you.
Exactly. But it's not at all like that. It's more of being in alliance with yourself.
Oh, I like that. Mm-hmm.
And being collected. When they say, you say calm and collected, it's like all parts of yourself are kind of in the same narrative, or whatever you call it. It has the same, what do you call that person that speaks in like videos and stories in the back? The narrator?
Yes.
We want one common narrator with different characters, but one story, basically.
I have to say something real quick. It's sort of a side note.
Yes.
To all of you watching, English is actually Nan's third language. And you wouldn't know that. I mean, you listen to her and she barely has an accent. Excuse me, but every once in a while she'll ask like that narrator, like she's not quite sure, And so that's what it is. It's the language, right? It's the language barrier.
Yes.
Like you probably had it in other languages in your head, and you just have to find.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know what it's called in Swedish and in my third language, but I have to look that up later. But it's like, and especially when I channel, sometimes spirit gives me these English words, and I love when that happens because some of them I really have no idea what they mean, but they fit in perfectly with what I said. I love that. But yes, so thank you for you keep teaching me English. That's what I want to say.
And my English isn't that great, but
I learned a lot.
Yes. And so before we go, so here's another little side thing that I want to
love that.
This is something that comes up, and because as you know, we do reactions to ghost hunting videos, and sometimes they will try or wonder, sometimes they wonder, sometimes they try, whatever, about speaking in a different language, like would this help the spirit or whatever. But there's something with language that the spirit gets it. There's some translation through that. And one time I remember, Nan, you saying, and this is what actually got me to start thinking about it. I had asked you one day, I said, how do you hear it? Are you hearing in a certain language? And you just went, no, I just kind of know. And then I speak the language of the person in front of me.
Yes, basically. Yeah. It's
which
the way
really
I don't really think about it. Like I said, if you hadn't asked me, I wouldn't even like think about it. But every once in a while, and I know it's serious when I hear Swedish. When I hear Swedish, the spirit speaking Swedish to me, then I know it's serious business. I need to listen. But other than that, the way I see it or the way I get it is that any language, any word has a vibration. And
okay.
And spirit kind of works through vibration. So I guess as mediums or whatever, we work as translators, basically. So you take a vibration and you translate it into a word. So I guess when you could basically speak gibberish if you mean what you mean. Like if you have an intention, like you want to say, I love you, you could basically say, it, like the gibberish, but to the spirit, it would be, I love you, because that's your vibration.
Oh, okay. So that is, and I know this is crazy. I have not thought of this before, but I'm thinking of it now, is when I speak that light language, and there's a plethora of different light languages, and the particular one that I speak with spirits, and I often speak it with spirits who are either have not been human or earthies that have been around for a really long time. And that's typically when it comes out. And I can't actually say verbatim the words that I'm saying. I don't know, but I have this overview. I know what's coming out of my mouth. Exactly. And then I know what I'm hearing. So that's very interesting. I never thought of it that way.
You're bilingual. I mean, we forgot about that. I mean, hey. I can't help you with the light language though, because I don't know it. I don't know
it either. It just comes out.
But that's like any language, I guess. But that's a perfect example, and I love that you brought that up. So that's exactly the way it is with any language. You kind of know the theme of what you're saying. You know what the intention is, and then the words kind of just speak themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
But it is super fast.
I do have a question. So with Baltic, is that how you?
No, Baltic, it's more so it's Serbian, Croatian, Bosnian. They're very, very similar.
Okay. So when you get that language, is it always funny? Because you said like Swedish, you know it's serious because you have the best like antidotes and stuff from your they're always so.
I guess in Bosnian or Serbian or Croatian, I come from Bosnia, so I call it Bosnian, but I don't get it a lot in Bosnian. I think it's my mother tongue. It's the language I spoke first because I'm born in Bosnia, but for some reason, it's the language I speak the least. It might be because I lived in Sweden my whole life. I primarily speak Swedish. I guess I speak a lot more English than I do Bosnian. But if I would hear it in Bosnian, then I would be like, what's going on here? Like something's going on. Like, and then it might be like an ancestor or something like that, or like my dad, or like my grandmother.
I was gonna say, when your dad comes in, what does he do? Can you tell what language he's speaking, or you just know what he's saying?
Honestly, yeah. When my dad comes in, he doesn't say much, which is weird because my dad was a loud person. But for some reason, he was loud. He was funny, but loud. You could definitely hear him.
Yes.
I don't, I never thought about this either. I just know. He doesn't say much. It just kind of, I just know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And when your dad comes in?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, sometimes I hear, but I only know English, but sometimes I hear, but mostly it's kind of like what we talked about. There's just, and that's part of my clair, because
yeah,
I'm also claircognizant. So it's just, I know what he wants
me to say.
Yeah.
But that is so fascinating. But I love that you brought that up. So for me, vibration. I mean, like I said, we could be speaking gibberish and we would understand something.
Yeah. So that's good for people who are watching, who are ghost hunters, or who are into the, which I think almost everyone that watches us, well, they have to be into the paranormal, right? But that question does come up about language. So that's a perfect answer for all the speak in English. I mean, because there's that, it's the vibration and the spirits. I've never ran into a spirit that's like, what? I don't understand. What? Huh?
Español, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that never I've yet to have that happen.
No. And the way I got right now is that our brain works as a receiver and what do you call the other part?
Yeah, one of those. Emitter?
That might be the word I'm looking for. Yeah, but when the brain receives, like you talk to spirit, even if the spirit lived the whole life as, I don't know, Spanish speaking, when it speaks to you, it's a vibration, so your brain translates it into English, which is great. We should, it's like a Google Translate that's just a lot more intelligent.
Yes. And so now here's another thing that comes is with like angels. Angels have that actual language is more of a song, and they're not words, but we understand them. When Archangel Michael comes in, I know exactly what he's telling me. And any other angels, whatever, and it's that same thing. It's that there's a translation that happens within us. Now, I have given like attunements that are translation attunements to help them. So there is that. So sometimes that is necessary, but I've only done that when it comes to archangels. I don't think, like I never had to give you some sort of English attunement or something. It's always with angels. There's some sort of just little tweaking that spirit does.
I think that's also a part of like you attuning them into like a higher vibration, so they can kind of meet the angel more, because they maybe feel a little more stuck in a little lower state or something like that. Yeah. But it's fascinating. It's very fascinating.
It's very fascinating. Yes. So I know we started this out by saying we're going to talk about relationships, and we went right into languages. But
here we are.
It's so fascinating. Yes.
It's our relationship to language.
There you go. There is everything has a relationship.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, how would you? So, I think what I would like to, what's sort of coming in now, because I just asked Spirit, which I did it in my head, so y'all did. What would be the most important to talk about in relation to relationships? So, and I asked Spirit that question, and what I'm given is that's part of to start talking about relationships in relation to starting or being on your spiritual journey. So to because that's what the audience would like to hear most, apparently. So being on, yeah. And then the other relationships sort of come in to that, right? But so when you start this spiritual journey, there is a relationship, then like you were talking about, that's with yourself. And you really, here's something else that I know I've said a lot and it bears repeating, is when you decide to, if let's say you just decide you want to develop your psychic abilities, you have to heal at the same time. One does not happen without the other. And we see people all the time on YouTube, they're psychics and mediums and whatever, and they've done zero healing, and you can see it. It's very apparent. It's very apparent. And I always think, wow, look what you can do if you only healed, how amazing your channel would be, how amazing your gifts would be. Every time we heal something, spirit gives us something. It just goes like that.
And you're absolutely right. And I think it's the ego, I guess, gets in the way. So just, when you said like spiritual journey, I think developing a very healthy relationship to our ego is a very important step in that spiritual journey. And I mean, most of us live our lives very unconscious, and the ego does drive it. And I'm absolutely not in one of those where like, oh, let's kill the ego sucks. And I know neither of us are, but it's more like finding a symbiotic relationship with our higher self and our ego, and just kind of letting the character play out here, but not letting it kind of run the show all the time without anything else being considered. So I think that most of us starting a spiritual journey, many of us do so because we are in crappy relationships, and that forces us to look at ourselves, and that kind of initiates a spiritual journey. But I do think that, and I think many of us, and I have a feeling many of us watching this, maybe didn't have the best relationships growing up, or maybe didn't have great relationships with our parents, and then that kind of spills over, and then we create the same dynamic in romantic relationships, to not talk about all this twin flame. And I know the spiritual community doesn't do a great job with like helping us heal. Sometimes it really like enables us to be like, oh, this is my twin flame, or this is that, and you kind of make all these excuses for crappy behavior. And so that's not really a good idea.
So when you say that, here's a great sort of segue into taking responsibility for ourselves.
I love that.
That is the spiritual journey, really, is
100%
taking responsibility for ourselves and for our relationships. Everything that happens in our life, we have choices to make around those things. And we, obviously, when we're kids, we cannot choose our parents or our siblings. There's a lot that we don't have control over, but we always, throughout our whole life, have control over how we react, how we respond, how we receive, all of that. And that's the spiritual journey in itself. And not, there's a saying that we have at TCS that we say all the time, is people ask about, how do I continue on this journey, or how do I just keep showing up and own your shit?
Oh, I love that. I love, I know. Own your shit. That is so true. And it's very well put. It is about personal responsibility, definitely. And also recognizing that everything is a choice, even those times when it wasn't, it was still an unconscious choice. So that's not to say like, not in any way to victim blame, because there are victims and we go through shit in life. Can you say shit on YouTube? We go through things in life.
shit.
Okay, then we go through shit in life. We definitely go through shit. And yeah, sometimes we are the victims, but it's like you said, it's like, okay, I have these cards in my hand. Maybe I can't change them right now. How am I going to play them the best way? And take that responsibility. And definitely in relationships.
Yeah.
So
what would you say, because I know this comes up, what would you say when someone comes to you and they're in this really unhealthy relationship with another person, and you're trying to get them to understand their responsibility in it, and things are happening they can change those things. And well, but I've had past lives with this person. This person is my soulmate because a psychic told me this was your soulmate, and or a twin flame. I mean, how do we separate? Like, those are different things.
I mean, I get this a lot, and you probably do too. And I understand that we as humans.
More you than me, but yes.
They find me, but I would say if it feels like you're suffering with this person, does it matter if it's your twin flame? Like, if we just go there, like, does it really matter? I always wonder that too. Like, and believe me, I've been in these traps. I've had a lot of crappy relationships. So this is not just something I'm making up. This is a journey I had to do myself, and it's not fun. But it's like, okay, if twin flame, it's the same. Like I call it source stream, like a stream from source that is projected, that is me, for example. And a twin flame is like that source stream just projected into two people. So it's the same soul, basically. Okay. If someone is being abusive towards you and cannot feel your pain, is that really your same soul? Because, same soul would be like, if you are in pain, I am in pain. If you're in happiness, I'm in happiness. Yes. Not to say that a real twin flame relationship is a super easy, fun relationship. I think the more we heal, the more easy it can be. But if we haven't healed, then it's going to be a big mirror, but it's not going to be this. There's a difference between a narcissistic, abusive relationship and a real twin flame relationship.
And okay, so with that, I have heard people say, psychics, they're teaching that a twin flame is someone who you get along with one day and you don't get along with the next day. Like, there's this battle that happens. You love each other, but there's this battle that happens. And I'm like, whoa, hold up. Don't teach that. That's just, what are you talking about? Like, there's such misinformation out there about what is a twin flame and a soulmate and a whatever. And and
I think it's dangerous to say things like that, because I think a lot of people, and maybe especially a lot of young people, get really trapped into these very dysfunctional relationships.
Well, I have to be here. It's my twin flame.
I hate that one. I hate that one because it's so, it's trapping us even further. It's like you said, it's like, okay, I have this big love or like attachment. It's basically a trauma bond, if we're just going to be like honest about what it is. But then someone comes, and I really want to believe that it is my twin flame. So someone kind of confirms that. And then I feel like I have to be with this person. It's like, why? No. So I think that anyone that does that should really choose their words carefully. Absolutely, it could be a soulmate where you had a contract to come in and to play these lessons and to be like, okay, we're going to meet so we can know about our really unhealthy patterns and move on.
Right. So let's talk. Sorry.
I was done. I'm going to take a sip.
Let's talk about soulmate then.
Yeah.
What a soulmate is. Everyone in your life is a soulmate.
I agree with that. I love that you said that. Yes.
A soulmate is not necessarily, my husband is a soulmate. Yes.
Yes.
You and I are soulmates. Marilyn and I are soulmates. You and Marilyn actually are when you have any type of relationship, even with that nasty piece of crap boss that you have all day long, you know what? He or she you contracted with them to come in because there's lessons for you to learn. That's a soulmate.
I love that. I agree 100%. And people are so like, that's a soulmate. That's not a soulmate. Anybody that walks into your life, you have that is a soulmate, definitely.
Right.
This cup can be my soulmate. The table can be my soul. Like, there's so many other, things attached to that. But it's, but again, even if you're with your soulmate and it comes to a point where it starts to get abusive, it starts to get toxic, it starts to get, it just doesn't work out. It doesn't even have to be that bad that it's toxic and dysfunctional and abusive. When it doesn't feel right, when it doesn't feel good, when there's not that respect there, it doesn't matter if it's your soulmate, that the lesson is to recognize that and move on. Yeah.
And everything is a lesson. Everything is a lesson. So, and to look, for me, it's very helpful to look at everything that way. I have had a lot of lessons around friends, just girlfriends, friends, and looking at them. And when I started to, okay, what is my lesson with this person? What am I meant to learn? It's always about, you have to take it into yourself. It's not, oh, this person is doing that and they're doing this and blah, blah, blah. You have to bring it back to yourself. And what am I here to learn? Why is this person, why did I allow this person? What is my wounding that I'm allowing this to happen?
Exactly. Because if you don't, and I see a lot of this, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, I think, but the codependent and the narcissist. And don't get me wrong, we all come from narcissistic upbringing. So again, it's not like I'm sitting here just talking things out of my ass.
Nope.
But I feel like definitely as someone that's, let's say you're the codependent person, you have been victimized many times and you have been abused. Yes. But if you come to a point, and I do think that on that healing journey, when you do decide, okay, this is not working, you're going to move on, because you have to come to that decision first, whether it's with friends or with, romantic relationship, whatever it is. But when you do process the hurt and the trauma and you process all those raw feelings of anger, and there's a lot of them, and it's absolutely like validated that obviously, but I think after that, when you kind of calm down, you have to take that, again, the responsibility. Okay, what was my role in this? How did I allow this? How did I choose? And why did I stay so long? Is there something with my attachment? Is there something maybe that reminded me of my parent? And then start working on that, so next time we can make healthier choices. Because if we don't, we're always going to feel like the victim being pissed at a narcissist until we attract another narcissist, and then we're back. Or we're going to isolate ourselves.
Yeah. They keep coming in until you break the cycle. And the only way to break the cycle is to heal that wounding and that trauma with us. And we make better choices, and then it stops. And then it stops.
Yes. Yeah. And then, but I know the hard part is making better choices. And I know that there's still going to be like, you made different, like you healed a lot, and you might meet a person, you might feel an attraction, but you feel that there's still a narcissist. That is like, okay, now I see it clearly, and now I have to make different choices for myself. And the more we start doing that, then the attraction starts to change. Then all of a sudden we're not attracted to people that are narcissistic.
Yeah.
But
we're here, we've had many lives, and we're here to evolve our soul and to evolve and to learn and to grow. Yeah. That's why we're here. And the way we do that is with relationships with other people.
Yes, I love that.
That's the way we do it.
That's like the fastest expansion. It's like
yes. So and now people who choose to sort of like check out of life, and I'm just going to be by myself, I'm going to, every once in a while there is a person who came down to have that solitary life.
Yeah.
Yes. However, many people that we've met choose that because it's too hard having relationships. Well, that's what you're here to learn.
I agree.
So and cutting yourself off from other people is not, that's not evolving your spiritual journey.
No, that's kind of putting it on pause. And I love that you said that, because if we come from very abusive past in relationships, there's obviously a part of us that's terrified of relationships. But just like you said, if we don't know that we do have the power to make different choices, then we either keep getting victimized, or like you said, we isolate ourselves, and neither is the best, healthiest choice to make at all.
And again, it's about relationships. So, and it doesn't mean, like, I've been married for almost 30 years and he's a wonderful man. We have a great relationship. Marriages have their ups and downs. It's not like every day is sunshine, but that's not really, I didn't, part of my journey is friendships with other women. And even with like coworkers or that. So there's relationships with people, and all everywhere. So when we talk about relationships, it's not just about that romantic relationship.
Exactly.
And everyone typically, if you look through your life, there's one area in your life that always seems to go well with other people. Like maybe it's at work. You have great relationships with the people at work, but at home, not so great. Or with friendships or whatever, there's always sort of a place.
Yes.
And if anyone is sitting there thinking, well, no, it's crappy everywhere. Come on in for a session. Like, book a healing, whatever.
And I think that's normal. Again, a lot of people have a relational trauma.
Yes.
But again, the best way to heal that is in relationship, but choosing the right people. Like I cannot stress enough how important that is.
And it's all about us. We have to we are the one that we need to think about. And what am I doing in this situation? How am I affecting this? Where is my wounding in this and my trauma? And it's all about figuring out yourself and moving forward. And healing is an amazing, and we will, unfortunately, sorry everyone, we will never be completely healed. That's not what we're here to do. But we're here to really evolve and head in that direction.
And also, I think that a lot of people fall in that trap where it's like it comes an end to the healing, and it comes an end to a certain pattern, and when we start choosing differently. But I think we, like you said, we need to let go of when is it going to end, because then it's always. Then we're not healing just to actually heal, then we're healing just to kind of get away from ourselves again. And it's not, we're not supposed to heal feeling like there's something wrong with us. It's more like, I love me and I want to love me. I want to make better choices for me because damn it, I deserve it. Or like, I want to live a better life. And I think I can actually let myself have that. And
there are levels to everything. So every lesson we're learning, every, part of wounding and trauma, whatever, there are layers to it. So we just heal layer after layer after layer after layer. And in some areas, we've really got it locked down. Like we're pretty well healed in that area, but this area, maybe not so much. But there's always more, but it's not as if we're completely broken our whole life. When you start healing, you heal those. And believe me, you become so much happier and you feel more comfortable in your body and you feel more comfortable just in life, just having that knowledge and that clarity.
And again, I think I know a lot of my healing journey has been becoming like an ally with myself, being my own best friend.
I like that.
Always coming back to that because I know so many relationships get messed up by shame because we grew up feeling shameful of ourselves. The codependent and the narcissist, they have the same wound. They have a core sense of shame. So it's like the same wound, but with like different sides of the coin or whatever you say it in English. And I think the codependent, the narcissist doesn't really care to recognize it because they don't have time for that. The codependent doesn't want to recognize it because it's too shameful. And sometimes the codependent has a big need to feel like the good guy because the bad guy means shame. And again, if we can't be with that shame, then we're going to miss out on a lot of healing. So, and I know that's super uncomfortable, but shame, what is shame?
It's something so beautiful though, isn't it? When you get to that, we've all had those healings where like I didn't realize I was doing something, or I didn't realize there was shame in it, or whatever the emotion is. And spirit brings in that message of where it came from. And though it's painful, to shine light on it is so amazing and wonderful. And the tears come, but they're not just tears of pain, it's real tears of joy, like
relief. I'm relieved I can finally and I know that, and that's why I love doing working the way I do, because I know we all know how it feels to be really lonely with certain shameful things, and
Yes.
I love providing that space of like, you can say and do and be whatever you want. No one's going to judge you for it. And
No
I
judgment
think
at
that,
all.
I think when we become brave enough to be with that shame, a lot of that healing does happen. A lot of communication and relationship doesn't happen based on shame, or shame covered with pride. Like, no, I'm not.
Yes.
Listen, but it's still shame. It's still shame, just kind of like painted over.
Blaming you because, you know, I'm wounded, I get triggered.
Yeah.
And then I blame you for my feelings. Like, that's it. Yeah.
And that's a common thing to do. And I think we have to like reach a certain level of, I don't know, maturity, healing, whatever you want to call it, responsibility.
I will say one of the things that I have finally learned, it's taken me over 50 years to get here, to get to great friends. You and Marilyn are certainly my two very best friends, you know, outside of my husband and my girlfriends. Yes.
Yes.
Is that you'll listen to me and and then you bring it right back around to me. It's like, okay, sister, where's your part in this? Like, what? I'm like, what? Wait, what? No, it's all their fault.
I don't have any part in this. Yeah.
I know, and you don't let me get away with it. But you're not supposed to. A good friend doesn't let you get away with that. They hold space for you while you complain and you cry and you do whatever, and it's all that person's fault. And why is that, you know? And then you bring in the reality and the clarity and smack me with it. But that's what we're supposed to do for each other.
I agree.
If you're wondering how good of a friend you have, if it's that friend that just goes out, has some drinks with you and just bitches about, you know, you just bitch about your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, and they just, and they're in it and nothing ever gets solved. That's really not a great friend. I just got to tell you, you know, that can happen for a minute, but then at some point, so I'm always grateful to you and ML both for being that person.
I'm grateful for you. I agree. And please, all the guys I dated that were such ass, I could have bitched about all day. But again, you also bring back to like, okay, but how do you choose this? Why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep answering? Why are you not like this? I'm like, obviously it's not me. Obviously.
I know. No.
I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna hang up now.
See, bad connection, gotta go. But that's when it all comes back to us, to owning our shit. And that's also what's really nice about going to like you for a reading or me for a healing, to Mary Lynn for a reading healing, is that we can bring that clarity to it.
Without it being like a judgment.
There's no judgment. Oh my gosh, not at all. No judgment.
I heard a term a few days ago somewhere on YouTube or something where it's like positive feedback and how important that is in relationships. And exactly that. It's not like a judgment or a criticism. It's more like can you consider maybe your part in this? And considering our part in relationships, that means we have the power to do something. It doesn't mean we're just waiting in the corner for someone to whip us or give us something nice. It's like, I can actually get myself out of the corner, or I can say something. I have an impact. And I think that a lot of us feel like we didn't have that. And I also wrote about this like a few days ago. I was with my family for a long time and like, you know, on vacation. And that made me think about a lot of patterns.
If you call that a vacation?
It was 12 days. That's all I can say. And it was obviously, it had its positive parts, but it made me think about a lot of these patterns that I know that I can, you know, repeat, or that my family repeats, and a lot of people around me. And it's this inability to kind of say you're sorry, because if you say you're sorry for something, that means that you actually are a bad person. Like I could clearly see that it was so much shame. Like it's like, if I do say I'm sorry, then I admitted that I'm a piece of shit, basically. And I'm so sad that it has to be like that, because it's like that, again, that shame prevents everybody from maybe having conflict resolution, from being able to vent, because anything that's perceived as criticism, it gets shot down, or anything that you have to like, okay, I hurt you, I'm sorry. That's just really hard. And
I'm going to add to that sorry piece. Sorry does not mean it's okay that you did that.
No, no.
That behavior is okay. That's not what sorry means. Sorry that this caused you pain. To forgive, that forgiveness is forgiving what expectations you had on the situation.
Yeah.
Or you know, because we expect certain things, or you know, sorry, that comes up a lot, because when doing healings with people, forgiveness comes in a lot, and the person doesn't want to forgive that other person or whatever. It's like, you're not forgiving what they did or what you did. We can forgive we can apologize for our behavior in it. Yes.
Yeah.
But the situation is what the situation is. And just because I forgive you does not mean I'm saying it was totally okay that you treated me that way.
No, exactly. It's more like, just like you said, just giving yourself the permission to let it go from your heart, to not let it carry you down. Yeah, exactly. And I know a lot of people, when they apologize, if we go back to like that perspective, because there's like the apologizing and the forgiving.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people, when they do apologize, they go like, I'm sorry, but I did it because this and this and this and this. And that's fine. Like, I get that. I get that we want to explain and we want to be the good part, obviously. But I think a lot of people would just, I think it's important to try to separate yourself from the action. Okay, I did something that caused you pain and I'm not happy about it. I'm sorry. That doesn't mean that I'm a piece of shit and I'm never going to be a better person. No, obviously I'm seeing what I did and I want to try better. But again, I think it's hard for a lot of us to do that.
Yeah. And it's very often, I know we've all heard this before, but as soon as you say but, that word but negates everything you just said. So
yeah.
The apology, the everything, just goes at that point. Yeah, with that.
Or like I'm sorry that I did all this, but I wouldn't have done it if you wouldn't have done that. It's like,
yeah.
Really, I'm sorry.
Gaslighting? Yes.
Oh, yes, definitely. Oh. Yes. And I want to say, like, a lot of dysfunctional relationships, if you're with a twin flame, and you feel you can't walk away, that's probably not, again, because it's a twin flame. It's probably a trauma bond, and your brain is using it as an addiction, just like it would alcohol or any drug or gambling. Yes. So the reason you can't let go is because you are addicted, not because it's a twin flame.
Yes, good point. Now, I have what's coming in now, thank you, Spirit, is, so if we're talking about the spiritual journey, so we're talking about healing and those connections, etc., and owning our shit and healing, blah, blah, blah. Then, so being on this spiritual journey, part of it too is whether you're developing to be a professional psychic or medium or healer or whatever, you don't have to. Part of it is just opening yourself to spirit, right? And receiving those gifts. And yep, I lost it. There was a reason I was going there.
I think I don't know if this is what you want to say, but what comes to me is that a lot of people, some people that started spiritual journey, they don't want to be psychics. They want to be builders, but they just want to be on a spiritual journey.
There you go. Yes,
they want to be doctors, and they want to be on a spiritual journey. So I don't always think that it always goes hand in hand. And I think that, like you said, just open yourself up.
Your personal intuition does.
Oh yes, 100%. I think that's part of that journey to start to, like, I think we all have it naturally, the intuition, the gut feeling. We all know, like, oh, my gut feeling says this, but I didn't listen. I think it's part of the spiritual journey to just trust that. Again, trust your gut feeling, trust your intuition. But again, that doesn't mean that everybody wants to work as a professional psychic or wants to develop their clair. Some people are just fine, like, oh, I have a good intuition. I want to drive trains or whatever.
And that relationship, it comes back to the relationship with yourself, with your own soul, your own spirit. It doesn't have to be like God or the universal energy or whatever it is you want to call that. It's just getting to know you and trusting that, and that's all intuition.
Absolutely.
I always say my husband's not psychic, but he's freaking intuitive like you can't. I mean, he's majorly intuitive, and there is sort of this difference. But on this spiritual journey really opened you to your own intuition and that own knowing and trusting that and everything. So
trusting the vibes. Some people say, oh, the vibes were not good, or like, yeah, but trust them, trust what you feel. I always say to people, like, when you've been on the spiritual journey for a while, take a week and just follow what you feel and like follow your intuition for a week. See what happens. You know, like if you drive off a cliff, well, I'm sorry, but if you end up somewhere great, you will prove to yourself that you can trust yourself more than you've been taught that you can, I guess.
Yeah. So, and at TCS, this is the way we teach, all three of us. It's the spiritual journey to find yourself, and the rest just sort of comes as a wonderful bonus.
Yeah, it falls into place. The rest kind of just falls into place and all that. Yeah.
But it always starts with that relationship with yourself. Right back to the relationship with yourself.
It always does. And speaking of the clairs and like developing, I think a lot of people, starting the spiritual journey are people that have been taught to not trust themselves. So even if they're fiercely psychic, there's still this part of us going, that's not true. That's all in my head. So that gets in the way, and then we try to control it and we try to micromanage it. So again, back to the relationship with yourself, it just kind of, sometimes it's just kind of getting out from, I know I did that a lot in the beginning. Like, what is this? What is happening? No, this can't be true. This can't, blah, blah, blah. Right. We all still have those moments. But it's like about letting go for a while. And I think many people that want to be very like work professionally, they pressure themselves even more. So they get in the way even more. It's like, oh, what if it's wrong? What if it's not like this? Or what if it's, So,
And I'm going to add, since a lot of people have, I keep saying that, it's not, everyone that has found us through the videos. Now, we're not talking about here where we live, we have other clients and so forth, but just through the videos, they come because of the paranormal. And I have learned over the years that spirit will sometimes use the paranormal to get you interested. To start opening you up. Now, just because you might live in a place with activity and you hear and you see and whatever, that does not make you a medium. I know that question comes up a lot. People, they think they're a medium or, whatever it is, because they can see and hear. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. The way I look at that is spirit is nudging you to start your journey, and you're getting poked. And what's a better way to get you to like sort of spin your head around than have a ghost walk past you or touch you or knock something over, or like the reason I think is because the paranormal can be so in 3D to get our attention. And so for all of you who are drawn to the paranormal, I can tell you most likely spirit is poking at you to start your spiritual journey. And
agreed, 100%. You can't miss it that way. It's like, I mean, you can, but it's like, it's hard to dismiss, like you said, like a ghost walking past you, or like just a lot of activity. So I absolutely agree on that. And it's a beautiful journey. It's never a journey of regrets. It's not like, why did I start a spiritual journey?
Right.
No. I mean, it has, so I think that it's just like you said before, it's about shedding light on things that we just didn't have light on. And it's a bigger mission than we think it is. And so I think that if you are being like nudged by spirit to start it. It's a beautiful journey. Start it.
Yes, and the paranormal is a great, that's spirit's nudging you. If you're really drawn to the paranormal, spirit is nudging you in that direction. But to not put all your eggs in that basket and say, I'm a medium, or I want to be a medium, or it's really about the relationship. It all comes back to relationship with self and healing our shit and moving forward with that. And I think there's something else I wanted.
being a medium or a psychic or whatever, it comes with a lot of responsibility. Just like you said, there's
Yeah.
a lot of people, if we come back to that, throwing around this twin flame thing, and sometimes
Yes.
it does more harm than good. I don't think anybody has ill intentions. Probably people have the best intentions when giving this information. But again, if we don't have that personal responsibility and that good strengthened like relationship with ourselves, then don't just jump into it like, I'm a psychic now, I'm gonna do all that.
And another thing with that, what's coming through is a lot of people use, so you all know how we feel about living with activity. It's not a good idea at all. It's such a low vibration. It makes you sick. It makes you angry, depressed. There's all sorts of reasons do not live with activity. But some people actually believe that living with activity is a way to practice. Well, I can practice my clairs. I can practice. No, that's not the way you do it. That's not the way you develop. It is not the way you develop at all. That's a very unhealthy way to do this.
Agreed.
That journey. Yeah. So.
Because it's just going to deplete your energy, and without your own energy, I agree.
It's like a lie. You might be able to tune into those energies at home, whatever, the spirits that are there. But it's not true. You're not truly opening your gifts. You're not truly receiving your gifts. You are just playing with these spirits who are wounded and in trauma, and they are in the vibration of fear, and they are getting a lot from that. They are feeding every day.
Yes. So they're loving it.
Yeah. And you're getting depleted, but they need to be crossed over. They need to go get healed themselves. Everyone is unhealed in that relationship. There's enough people do form relationships with spirit, with ghosts, earthies, and it's a very sad, no one's winning in that relationship at all.
No, I agree. But I think too, it's like, I know it's cliche, but again, people talk about self-love, and we all know that that's like the antidote to everything. It's just love.
Everything. Yes.
To say, but it's true. It's like that unconditional love is really, like you say in a lot of the videos, you stand in that vibration of love, and that kind of know that you are in power there. You are like all loving, and that kind of, you don't need a lot more than that, or that's your starting point in everything. And it's the same with self-love. It really just melts away all the harsh edges we have inside.
So all of those really dumb Hallmark cards that are all mushy and gooey, it's actually really the truth.
Yes. I know. I mean, they exist for a reason, right? Things are cliche for a reason, obviously. Yes, it is true. It's very true. It's very true. Yeah. But, and also I want to say that the more we are on the spiritual journey, the more we learn to love ourselves, trust our intuition. Everything that's not good for us will be loud. And it will be louder and louder if we don't do something about it. So if you're stuck in a really bad relationship and you refuse to change it, believe me, it's not going to be pretty. So, because spirit is like, okay, you started this journey, we can't stop now. So if you can't hear me now, I'm going to scream in your ear. So, yeah.
I'm going to start poking at you're going to start having body aches or pains. You're going to start catching more colds. You're going to have more stomach aches, more headaches. We're going to get your attention.
Exactly. Or the other person is going to do something so bad that you can't even make excuses for it. It's like, okay, I clearly see it now. What am I going to do about it? Yeah. So I don't want anyone to come to that point, because it's bad.
Oh, it's an awful place to get to. Yeah. And we've all done it. We've all ignored until spirit just like pushes us down the stairs. And
then we cry about it. No, I don't want to be here. I want to talk. Yeah. But if that's a point, like if you come to that point, you can always talk to me, Pam, or Marilyn, and we would love to support you with that.
Yes, absolutely. And we have some great things coming up this summer. We're not quite ready to introduce them yet, but that's come in another month or so, and we'll be introducing some new fabulous stuff for your personal journey. And
exciting.
Yes. And so I think this is probably a great place to stop, unless you have something else you'd like to talk about.
No, I feel like I said my piece.
Yeah, we'll have more of these. And if you have questions,
yes.
Go ahead and drop them below, and Nan and I can do another video if it works out that there's enough questions that you want us to talk some more. If you just liked this, that's great. There might be a time, please know that Marilyn is still with us. It's just,
yes. She will be back. I'm not the substitute teacher here.
But Nan is every bit a part of us. She's just not part of the paranormal part of TCS, and that's why you haven't seen her much. But we're going to start bringing her in more, because we want to open this YouTube channel to more of a spiritual journey. We're still going to have the reaction videos, because love those,
and they're amazing. So keep on doing those, and they're very like educational. Like you learn so much from watching them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love that. So don't stop that.
No, but you will see more of Nan. And anyway, drop the questions below. Let us know what you think if you have questions. And like I said, if there are enough, we'll come back and we'll answer some of those questions and talk some more. Nan and I can literally talk for hours and hours and hours. So we have to cut it off, or it's going to be a
4-hour-long video on relationships.
Yeah, I think we already spoke like an hour and a half or so before even starting the recording. So we're yes. Yeah. I think this summer will be 5 years for you and I being friends.
It's our anniversary. Yes.
August, maybe September. I have to look that up, but I know
I have to look that up too. But you're right. Wow, time really flies, and I'm so happy that we met.
Yes, me too. And Nan and I actually get to meet in person for the very first time this year in Portugal. So I'm so excited about that. We have not ever met face to face, which is kind of an odd thing.
It is 5 years.
So well, but it's all
in divine timing, I guess.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So, okay, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who have not already, please subscribe. We are going to do more of these. Again, we're going to open the channel up to more of the spiritual journey type talks. Always keep the paranormal stuff but that's part of the spiritual journey.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, the paranormal, the relationship, spirit, everything.
Yep, the whole thing. So we thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.